Hey everyone, it's Jananie and welcome back to my channel, The Story Ain't Over. Today I am bringing you a very late March TBR or reading plans video. And part of that is because I did some traveling at the end of February. I went to LA for some super secret reasons to film something super secret with Netflix, which is pretty darn cool. And I'm very excited for, and you'll get to learn more about this whole thing. Hopefully sometime soon. I did vlog the entire trip and process and everything that went on, so that will come out at some point when I'm allowed to talk about this. But aside from that, I also didn't get the chance to pick up a lot of the books that were on my February TBR because of this sort of impromptu trip. And I also was reading quite a few secret books for some secret videos during February. So in the end, I feel like I'm not going to be able to do a wrap up for February until a lot of these things sort of come out. So you're going to get a wrap up for February and March together at the end of March. I hope that will be satisfying to many of you. But yeah, I just wanted to give that update for any of you who are waiting for my thoughts on the books that I talked about in my February TBR. Hopefully I'll actually be able to get to more of them this month as well, and you'll see that a few of those books are actually books I'm currently in the middle of or planning to finish at the beginning of March before getting into my main TBR for March. But now that we've gotten all those updates out of the way, let's talk about the sponsor of today's video before we get into the books that I'm going to be reading in March. So longtime story fans will know this, but every month for my TBR I have the same exact sponsor, which is a service that I absolutely adore, and that is Book of the Month. Book of the Month is a super popular, fast-growing online book service for readers. Their mission is to promote new and emerging authors and help readers discover books they love. The way it works is that the Book of the Month team vets hundreds of books that are coming out each month, and they curate a smaller list, usually 5, but recently they've upped it to up to 7 books, and then readers have a choice between those 5 to 7 books to grab one in their Book of the Month blue box. The thing I love most about Book of the Month is that it has a really awesome skip policy, so if ever you don't like the selections that are curated for a specific month, you can just skip that month, not get charged, and continue your subscription later on. And of course, longtime story fans know that I have an exclusive code to grab your first Book of the Month box for only $9.99. So if you use my code STORY and use the link in my description, you can grab your first Book of the Month box for only $9.99. That's a really great deal, especially for hardcover, new release adult books, so I highly recommend grabbing that offer. And of course, as with every month, I'm here to also tell you the book selections for the month. So first up, I have The Paris Apartment by Lucy Foley, and this is actually the one that I picked for my Book of the Month box. I'm especially excited for this one because it's a locked room mystery set in a Paris apartment building, and it's actually the book club pick for the Literally Dead book club hosted by Kayla from Books and Lala for this month. So it was already like on my TBR to read this month, so I'm super excited that it was a pick for Book of the Month. The next book is by an author that I really love who actually wrote a lot of really cute YA novels like way back when I was like a teen, and that is The Unsinkable Greta James by Jennifer E. Smith. And this is actually one of her adult novels, and it's about an indie musician who is reeling from a tragedy and a public breakdown and who ends up on a week-long cruise to reconnect with her father. The next book is part memoir, part true crime story, and that is Tell Me Everything by Erica Krause, and this follows a private investigator who helped crack open a sexual assault investigation. The next book seems like it's going to be a hate to love romance, and that is Dating Dr. Dill by Nisha Sharma. This one I've already seen like all over TikTok, so I'm really excited to check it out. The next book seems like a bit of a mystery thriller, and that is The Book of Cold Cases by Simone St. James, and this follows a true crime blogger who's interviewing a woman who is acquitted of 2 cold cases. The next book seems like it's a mashup of multiple genres, and that is The Verifiers by Jane Peck. This book follows a Chinese-American main character who is recruited by Veracity, which is this online dating detective agency in New York. It seems like a really interesting concept, and it also delves into like her background and like the immigrant experience, which I think will be really cool. And then the final Book of the Month pick for March is Cartographers by Peng Shepherd, and this seems to be a thriller and follows a main character who finds this mysterious map in her father's belongings after he dies and is pulled into this mystery of trying to figure out what it leads to. Alrighty, so those are all 7 picks for Book of the Month for March. You should definitely go check them out and use the code and link in my description, STORY, to grab your first Book of the Month box for only $9.99. Thank you so much to Book of the Month for sponsoring today's video once again, and let's get into my March TBR. Alrighty, so as I said, February wasn't a great reading month because I barely hit the books on my TBR, but I did read some other books for some secret videos, so that went well. But I also had some book club picks for February that I didn't end up finishing yet, so I am wrapping those up in this first week of March. So the first of those is The City We Became by N.K. Jemisin, which is the Reading Color book club pick for February. I believe the live show for this one will actually be occurring after this video goes up. So if you haven't joined in yet, go grab this book, read it, and the live show is happening on Friday, March 11th at 6 p.m. Not to spoil the live show in any way, but I just wanted to say that I am about halfway through this and already loving it a lot. It is quite different from anything else I've ever read, but I think it's written so well. And it's also a book that is actually way better in audiobook, I personally think, than in like the print version. So I've been listening to the audiobook and like following along, and it's been a fantastic experience. So I'm definitely going to be finishing this before the live show on Friday and cannot wait to hear everyone's thoughts. The next book is one that I'm actually starting today, the day that I'm filming this, which is March 5th, and that book is The Jasmine Throne by Tasha Suri. So you guys may remember this was my Patreon book club pick for February, so again, I'm just really behind. So I'm going to be reading this over the next week and trying to finish it before our live show on Sunday, March 13th at 4 p.m. Also, all these times I'm mentioning are in Eastern time because I live in Toronto. But if you are interested in joining for the live show for The Jasmine Throne, you should definitely go check out my Patreon. It is linked down below. You can get access to exclusive videos that I only post for my patrons and like life updates and just like a fun little community to chat about books. And we also have a book club every month where we read a book and do a little live show and chat in our Discord as well. I know a lot of my patrons were really excited for this one, so I cannot wait to read it. And I've heard just so many amazing things about it from other booktubers as well, so I'm just super excited. All right, so now getting into the books that I actually plan to read in March. The first one is the Reading Color book club pick for March, and that is The Stationery Shop by Marjan Kamali. If you guys haven't seen my announcement videos for my book club, basically I have a book club where we read books by BIPOC authors each month and discuss the books on an app called Fable each month, and also discuss them in a live show at the beginning of the next month. So this is our March pick, and we'll be discussing this in a live show at the beginning of April. And for those of you who have been watching my channel for a while, you guys know that I actually have read The Stationery Shop before and absolutely loved it. And I wanted to share it with more people, so I thought it would be great to pick it for the Reading Color book club. But another reason for picking this book for the Reading Color book club was because, if you guys don't know, for the book club, each month I partner with a book influencer who shares the identity of the author. And so this book is by a Persian author. So I wanted to partner up with Hannah from A Clockwork Reader, who is also Persian. And she has also read and loved this book. So both of us felt like a lot of people would love to read this one and just fall in love with the story like we did. So yeah, we're going to be discussing this in a live show sometime at the beginning of April. Dates to come. Just watch out on the Instagram that I have linked down below. For those of you who don't know what this is about, it's a bit of a heartbreaking love story that is set in like multiple timelines and starts with a couple who are sort of ripped apart in 1950s Tehran, Iran. The next book that I have is our March book club pick for my Patreon, and that is She Who Became the Sun by Shelley Parker Chan. This, as far as I know, is a military fantasy, Asian-inspired fantasy, and I've also heard that it has a really amazing sapphic romance to it as well. And this was also like the similar premise that the book The Unbroken by C.L. Clark had, and I know a lot of us didn't love that one for the Reading Color book club, but this book I have actually heard a lot of amazing things about, especially from other booktubers, including from Mina from Mina Reads, who is actually the co-host for the month that we read The Unbroken for the Reading Color book club. So I trust her opinion, and knowing that she loved this, I'm like, okay, I'm ready for this. So yeah, I'm reading this with my patrons for this month, and we'll have a live show at the end of March. So if you're interested in reading this with us, go check out my Patreon. The next book on this ridiculously long TBR is This Woven Kingdom by Tara Mafi. As many of you know, I am a huge Tara Mafi fan. I absolutely love her contemporary books, A Very Large Expansive Sea and An Emotion of Great Delight. Don't hate me, but I've never read her Shadow Me series, and I actually don't really intend to because it's a dystopian and I just don't feel like I am in the mood for a dystopian, like a YA dystopian. But this book is the first book in her new YA fantasy series, and it involves Persian mythology as well, and like part of her background because she is also Persian. And I was like, I need this in my life right now. So I actually grabbed this very recently from the bookstore, and I cannot wait to pick it up. I've already heard amazing things about it, about the romance as well, and I think Tara Mafi has a really nice way of writing romances. So I'm just overall really excited for this one. The next book that I plan to read, I don't have a physical copy of yet because my pre-order has been delayed and I'm very annoyed, but it's fine. That book is The Atlas Six by Olivia Blake. So this is actually the newly traditionally published version of the self-published book that I had read before. You guys may have seen that vlog. It was like a vlog where I tested TikTok recommendations, and so The Atlas Six was one of them. And I absolutely loved the self-published version, like so much. I love the characters to death. I feel like there were parts of the story that could have been improved in like editing. I just wanted like more of the characters. And when I found out that it was going to be traditionally published, I was like, yes, give it to me now. So this new version has new scenes, is newly edited, and will also be the first book in a series. So the second book is actually coming out later this year. So I thought I just need to read this now. The book also has an audiobook now, which is really exciting because the book is told from 6 different perspectives. And so having a different narrator for each one will be just so fantastic. So I'm just excited overall for this like new experience of something that I already love. And yeah, I just cannot wait. If you have read the new version of The Atlas Six, I would love to hear what you thought of it, especially if you've read the previous self-published version. Alrighty, and then on the note of Olivia Blake, I decided to pick up another one of her self-published books, which is Alone with You in the Ether. And this one I had been seeing all over TikTok and also Twitter. I saw a lot of people tweeting about this, and all I really know about it is that it is a love story, a bit of a heartbreaking love story, and I feel like I just love the way that Olivia Blake writes her characters. I think I'm gonna really love this, and I also personally just love heartbreaking love stories. So yeah, I can't wait to read this one. It seems pretty short, like a pretty small book, and yeah, I just feel like it's gonna be a lot of fun because I love Olivia Blake's writing. All right, and then next on this TBR, I also want to pick up The Roughest Draft by Emily Wibberley and Austin Sigmund Broca. I can't remember if I put this on my February TBR, but this is a recent release by a co-writing duo who are also actually married in real life, and they wrote a romance book about a co-writing duo who are going through some problems and fall in love. And this entire concept just has me super excited, and I think it's going to be super adorable. And I do know that the authors also have a bunch of YA novels that they've written together, but I've never really been interested in any of those. But this one seems like it would be one that I really enjoy, also because it involves like 2 writers, and it's giving me beach read vibes by Emily Henry. So hopefully this lives up to what I've like painted in my head, but let me know if you guys didn't enjoy this one if you've read it. Alrighty, and then finally on this TBR, I'm planning to binge read quite a few books from the same series because a new season of the TV show that is based off of them is coming out at the end of March, and I need to get hyped for that new season. So those books are the Bridgerton books by Julia Quinn. I went ahead and bought all of them, most of them, I think, up to like 1, 2, 3, the 5th one, which is the last one with like a character that I actually care about. But basically, if you don't know, the Bridgerton books are like Regency romances, historical romances, basically like Pride and Prejudice era, and it feels like Jane Austen while reading these as well. And these are the basis for the Bridgerton series as well, which I watched the first season of in like 2020 and absolutely loved. And what's cool about the show and also the books is that each book follows a different sibling in the Bridgerton family, and you're getting their love story. So the first book and season of the show followed Daphne, who is the eldest daughter of the Bridgerton family, and then the second book and season followed the eldest son of the Bridgerton family, which is Anthony, the Viscount. And that is actually the season that is coming out at the end of this month in March. And what really excites me about this particular season is that the love interest for the season, Kate, is played by Simone Ashley, who is actually a Tamil girl. She is South Asian, which is very exciting for me, and I just love the representation that we're gonna get, and I also think it's just gonna be so freaking cute. I just really love like how dramatic and just romantic the show is, and it's definitely a series that is like really bingeable. But while watching the series, you also get like lots of tidbits of the other siblings in the family, and a lot of those tidbits I believe actually come from later books in the series. So I wanted to sort of binge all of the books in the series before the second season comes out, so I can just like get a taste of what's gonna happen, and I just feel like it's gonna be really enjoyable. So yeah, that is also on the docket for before the show comes out on March 25th. And with that said, those are all the books that I have on this ridiculously ambitious March TBR. I am so excited for all the books on this list, and I'm hoping that I can get some more reading done this month. As always, don't forget to check out my Instagram, Twitter, Goodreads, and TikTok in the description down below. And definitely don't miss out on the Book of the Month deal. Use my code STORY and use the link in my description. You can grab your first box for only $9.99. I hope you're all having a wonderful start to your month and that you'll get a lot of reading done, and I will see you in my next video. So please remember that this story ain't over. Bye!